Exodus, part 3. Okay, now there are three realities, according to the rabbis, that take place right here in Exodus. Israel, Adonai, which is the name that is acceptable for the holy name, and Torah. Relationship is Torah, God, Israel. Those are the three realities. Now, after the giving of the law, in the 24th chapter is this strange ceremony, a ratification of the covenant, which, here's what I'm going to say to you, and I'm going to demonstrate it in as brief terms as possible. Here's what happened. God married him and they didn't get it. It was a wedding ceremony to God, as it turns out, because God is later going to say, even though I was your husband. And God's going to accuse them of adultery. And for the rabbis, idolatry is the same thing as adultery. Adultery, humans, idolatry, God. Here is this ceremony. The people, to them, it's the same thing as an overlord in a vassal nation. Okay, God is going to give us these benefits, and we'll honor God and do the things that God wants us to do in order to have good crops and a good life. You know, just like a vassal saying, we'll give you taxes and so forth, and the overlord country or whatever saying, well then, I'll protect you from other armies, etc. That's what they thought they were getting into. But that's not what it was to God. They didn't get it. Listen to this dramatic story. Moses came into the 24th chapter. Moses came and told the people all the words of the Lord and all the ordinances, and the people answered. Here it is again with one voice. All the words that the Lord has spoken we will do. Right. And Moses wrote down all the words of the Lord. He rose early in the morning, built an altar at the foot of the mountain, set up 12 pillars. It's going to get gory. Corresponding to the 12 tribes of Israel. He sent young men to the people of Israel who offered burnt offerings and sacrificed oxen as offerings of well-being to the Lord, which means Adonai, which means the covenantal name. Moses took half of the blood and put it in basins, and half of the blood and dashed it on the altar, representing God. Then he took the book of the covenant, read it to the hearing of the people, and they said, all that the Lord has spoken we will do, and we will be obedient. Moses took the blood and dashed it on the people and said, see the blood of the covenant that the Lord has made with you in accordance with these words. So, two things. One, anytime there's a covenant, which is a ratification, a solemn covenant made binding by an oath. Some agreement, solemn agreement made binding by an oath. Marriage is an example of a covenant. According to the ancients, there had to be blood, not human. The blood signifies, first of all, the seriousness. If I do not hold up my end of the bargain, may it be to me as this animal that we've had to sacrifice. Second, it means that since we learn in Leviticus that the life is in the blood, and that's going to get us into the New Testament, okay? The life is in the blood, that the blood signifies the new life that is generated by the relationship. Got it? A new life. Because the blood touches all of the organs, feeds the entire body. The two meanings. They don't know it, but they have just married God. And God hates divorce. And so that marriage is still in force. Heavy stuff. But God's now got to work on the people, all of us, on our hearts so that we can hold up our end of the bargain. Now we're going to turn to Deuteronomy.